In the following game, I was playing white against the Grandmaster Alexander Grishuk. Since we are both from Moscow and we are both approximately the same age, we often played in the same youth chess tournaments. So it was not our first encounter of the board. We even studied in the same group in the same university. In this game, we played a very sharp Sicilian defense, the Neichdorf variation, and a very famous poisoned pawn variation. Hello everybody, I'm Grandmaster Alexander Kostyniuk and I'll comment for you one of my Blitz games from the 2009 World Blitz Championship. I am playing white against Grandmaster Alexander Grishuk. It's the 18th round of this very long and interesting Blitz Championship. You see that we are both waiting for the beginning of the round. We are waiting for the arbiter to announce the start of the game. I've already played quite a few games with Alexander. Actually, the first one was when we were both 8 years old in the Moscow Championship among kids under 10 years old. At that time, Alexander won, but I took 6 out of 8. I lost only to him and to another boy who later on became also a grandmaster. And it was my first championship that I won, under the age of 10. Okay, now we're playing in the World Championship. Some time has passed. And Alexander presses the clock and we start the game. I start the game with my usual e4, c5, knight f3. Alexander is choosing what to play. And he chooses to play the sharpest variation, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, a6, which is the Neichdorf variation, bishop g5, e6, f4, again the crossroad, and again the most aggressive way for black, queen b6, the variation which is known as the poisoned pawn variation. White often sacrifices the pawn on b2, queen d2, queen takes b2. A long time ago it was considered to be dangerous for black, but nowadays it's considered to be the strongest move. So queen takes b2 and I played knight b3. The other popular reply for white here is rook b1. Knight b3, that's a move I've already played a few times in my practice. Queen a3. One game was against Grandmaster Dvoris, which I commented in my book, Diary of a Chess Queen. So I took on f6, bishop takes f6, g takes f6, bishop e2. This is all, of course, a very well-known theory. And Alexander played knight c6. Another continuation for black is h5 without letting the white bishop go to h5. I castled. Bishop d7. Again, black could have played h5. King h1. Rook c8. And here, after some thought, I decided to use the fact that black didn't move his pawn forward, didn't play h5, and so I can use it by playing bishop h5. Actually, a few years ago in the French town Cap d'Agde in October 2006, I already played this variation against Sergei Karyakin. The game continued the same way. I also played bishop h5. It was the rapid game. We played with a longer time control. Bishop g7, everything went the same way. But here with Sergei, I opted for rook f3. And now I played f5. f5 is a little bit more risky because I'm letting black put his knight on e5. Well, at the moment Alexander castled, I played rook f3, but I didn't want to let black play f5 and to open his bishop. That's why I decided in this game, I decided that it's more important for me to play f5 than just to move my rook by playing rook f3. It's a novelty, f5 In my game against Karyakin, I played rook f3, castle, rook a to f1, and after some very interesting complications, the game ended in a draw. Here, after knight e5, rook g3, king h8, we have classical position for this variation, rook f1, where I don't have a pawn, where white doesn't have a pawn, since I just sacrificed it on b2, but at the same time black doesn't really have any opportunities to use this pawn yet, because it's still the middle game. So I will try to create the attack on the king side, while black will try to simplify the position. Gryshuk played b5, so you see he's trying to attack on the queen side, while I am moving all my pieces closer to his king, since the position of his king is pretty solid and I will need all my force to open it. And there are many ways to open it, as we can remember the famous double knight sacrifice on d5 and e5 that can be seen sometimes in the Sicilian positions. Sometimes white sacrifices on e6, so there are many ways to try to create some kind of threats. I decide to go by the most principled way. I play queen f4, and now everything is almost forced, since I want to play queen h4. That's why black has to play e5, queen g4, rook g8. Here I should stop and explain a little bit more, because after rook g8 black's position is lost. And Alexander probably miscalculated something. Instead, he should have played, of course, bishop h6. But let us get back to the game and let us see what happened after rook g8. I took on f7, and Alexander didn't really realize. It happens sometimes. He didn't really see what would happen after his next move. He played bishop h6, and you see my reaction. I didn't really believe in it, because after queen takes g8, he has to take on g8, rook takes g8, and I will just checkmate.